how close is that to reality if an EMP were to happen or what have you, whatever disaster that may be?
The overall story fairly close. I think I went a little light actually on how bad it'll be. I have a much more what I consider closer to realistic version of parts of it that are just so dark I didn't think I could put them in print.
Right.
Because man is capable of terrible, horrible cruelty, especially to one another.
Right.
And I really don't get that deep into how I know people act. How I know people act. Like I've got my podcast tonight. My Israeli buddy that just got back from over there is going to be giving us some firsthand accounts, and just what I've already heard is stuff I would never even thought of attempting to do to somebody.
Right.
Like, that would have never entered my head of how terrible it is. And so I think a lot of people are unprepared for the levels of violence that they're going to see. Most modern people are conditioned to call something bad's happening, call 911 and wait. Don't wait. Engage your feet, get moving, call 911 while you're running like hell. Or if you're smart enough, turn around, defend yourself, do what you got to do. But
right.
That's the thing that I feel the worst about for people. Because people who are not used to violence are not going to be prepared to deal with it when it confronts them to their face.
No, I get it. I get it. And
so, yeah.
You talk about it, and I've got some questions I want to ask, but that darkness of human beings. I look back at history, and as you were talking, I was thinking about Stalingrad, the siege of Stalingrad.
Oh, yeah.
Where you had 2 million people that were held under siege in that city, and they had no food, no electricity, nothing going on in that city at all. And it got to the point that they were eating their pets. They ate their pets. And then it finally got to the point where they engaged in cannibalism because that was the only way they had to survive. And
they're eating sawdust bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I look today at the way our society works, and we've got a 2-day supply chain. You've got a grocery store that restocks basically every 2 days.
Yeah.
And what happens if that supply chain is disrupted? And we saw that to a degree when COVID was around. We saw those supply chains being disrupted, and people did not handle lack of toilet paper very well.
Yeah, of all the things to be worried about.
Yeah.
They didn't take very kindly to it. It's conditioning.
Right.
We're too comfortable, and we're just, in general, we're just too soft. One of the things when people ask me what they could be doing to get ready, I'm like, learn to be uncomfortable.
Well, that was the question: is what skills do we need? Be uncomfortable
and accept it.
Right. What skills do we need when? Pardon my French, but what skills do we need when the shit hits the fan?
Oh, lots of it. Sadly. Now, it all comes down to the basic things. We have to maintain life. And so what does a human need to exist? He needs water, shelter, fire, energy, if you want to call it that, food, and security. Those are the 5 things that you have to have in order to stay alive. So you have to have means to produce those things. So consider the average American cul-de-sac community, okay?
Right.
Is there a water source on that property? There might be a retention pond, maybe. So if not, where are you going to get water from? When the taps run dry, what are you going to do? If you do not live near water, like an open surface water source, you're going to have to go to the water.
Right.
However far that is, and by whatever means you can get there. And now, does that mean, is it too far that I can't carry back water back and forth to where I live every day? So now I have to figure out a different way to live. And that's just the first issue, because water is number one.
Right.
Without water, nothing else matters. Whenever we do an assessment for a homestead or we do things like that, the first question is, where's the water? As soon as we show, we're like, where's the water? Where's it at? And that's the first thing you have to have. A lot of people concentrate on storing food, which is obviously great. But
is it more important to store food or to grow your own food?
Well, that's where I'm going. So let's just say you store a year's worth of food. And when people say that, I'm like, that's awesome. I said, what are you going to eat on day 366? And they just kind of look at me, and I'm like, look, you've got to be able to produce your own food. And I know that's hard. Most people cannot do that. I get it. But if you want long-term survival, you've got to be able to produce your own food.
Right.
There's just no way around that, because like you said, when that 2-day supply chain collapses, and it doesn't even have to fully collapse. You could look at what's happening in South Africa today, right now, with any truck that just about that tries to drive down the road gets stopped and looted out. Doesn't matter what's on board, it gets looted out. We saw a little bit of that during the summer of peace and love, just a little while ago. But imagine it happening on a broader scale. I just don't think people are mentally even going to be quite prepared for what they're going to see.